All right, here comes. Looks like we are. You're hot. Okay. All right, here we go. Good evening and welcome to the Chandler Chamber Council Chambers. We do have 3 separate meetings tonight. Most of you are here for the second one, in which we'll be honoring individuals, reading proclamations, etc. So our first one is the Public Housing Authority Commission, a regular meeting, of which we also have a member of our Public Housing Authority, who's also part of this particular committee. So with that, I'd like to call the PHAC, or Public Housing Authority Commission, regular meeting to order. And Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Chairman Hartke,
Here.
Vice Chair Ellis,
Here.
Commissioner Loring,
Here.
Commissioner Encinas,
Here.
Commissioner Posted,
Here.
Commissioner Orlando,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
and Commissioner Hawkins.
Here.
I have a quorum.
Thank you so much. And do we have any unscheduled public appearances for tonight?
No, we do not.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, what's before us tonight is a pretty simple consent agenda. How would you like to proceed?
Mayor,
Commissioner Orlando.
Greg, just a quick question from staff on item 2. I know we do this every year, every 5 years. Any major changes from previous years that we should be aware?
All right. All right, Amy is dashing to the microphone. You look dashing.
Yes, roller skating up here, right?
Good evening, commission members. We do not have any substantial changes for our 5-year annual plan. And again, this is a prescribed plan that HUD requires our Public Housing Authority to submit every year. And then this year, it's a 5-year plan. We are adhering to all the regulations per HUD, and there are some increases in or minor changes, but again, this is all required
Okay.
under the HUD.
So no major. I mean, I glanced at it earlier today, but I just want to make sure there's nothing glaring came out at me. I want to double check with you.
Yes, that's correct. No high level issues at this moment that would cause any concern at this point.
Thank you, Amy. Well, with that, Mayor, a motion's in order.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I move that we approve the PHAC commission, the PHAC regular meeting, March 24th, 2025, items 1 through 2.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Orlando, a second by Vice Chair Ellis. Seeing no further conversation pieces, recusals, please take the vote.
Vice Chair Ellis,
Yes.
Commissioner Loring, Commissioner Encinas,
Yes.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Hawkins,
Yes.
Chairman Hartke.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously.
thank you all, Commissioners. That concludes our PHAC meeting. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Chandler City Council of March 24th, 2025. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Here.
Vice Mayor Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Encinas,
Here.
Councilmember Poston,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando,
Here.
Councilmember Harris,
Present.
Councilmember Hawkins.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation tonight will be delivered by Pastor Gary Davis of the Southeast Valley Bible Church, and our Pledge of Allegiance following by Councilmember Matt Orlando. Pastor.
Father in heaven, we come before you this evening with grateful hearts of what you've given to us. You are our God, you're our Savior, our Creator. You've given us life, and that life is an abundant life. We have joys in our heart, we have loves, we have desires, we have emotions, all a gift from you. Thank you for that. You have put in to this council room here leaders, and I thank you for those. May no one take it for granted or take it lightly for the position that you have put them in. I pray, Father, as Solomon prayed, that you would give each one wisdom, godly wisdom, wisdom from on high that they need to have. So easy to make decisions just based on our own futile thoughts of our own personal desires, but we need the wisdom of God in matters. We thank you, Father, for all the individuals you've brought into our community, the police officers, the first responders in so many areas. I thank you for the businesses that you brought into this community. But what you have brought into this community is people. Chandler is made up of we the people. And I pray, Father, that we would always remember what you have primarily said, that we have two focuses in life. And that's to love you with all our mind, heart, and soul, and to love our neighbors ourselves. And I pray that every decision that's made in here might remember that you are a God and that they're servants of yours, but also to remember to treat our neighbor as ourselves. I pray that you would give wisdom as decisions are made. May they be made in justice, but tempered with mercy and grace, because that's the kind of God you are, and that's the kind of people that you have created. We thank you for this opportunity of service, and may you watch over us, may you guide us through each decision, and may you receive the glory in it all. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Councilmember. Next on our agenda tonight is scheduled public appearances, and I'd like to invite Councilmember Hawkins to join me up front. I like to be on the side because it's my good side, if I have such a thing. All right. First up are our service recognitions. City Manager Josh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. We do have 3 employee service recognitions this evening. And for the first, I'd like to call up our Chief Information Officer, Sandeep Dalokia.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to invite Mitch Robinson to come on board to celebrate his 20th year anniversary with the city. So Mitch brings to the city one of the most important firsts, and that being he's our first cybersecurity expert here at the city. For 20 years, through thick and thin, Mitch kept our city safe from within. A cybersecurity guru that is so wise, he's the city's platinum prize. For so many years, he built CyberTracks with policies, tools, and strong IT stacks. Encryption enforced, threats held at bay, citywide protections leading the way. A friend to all, he's always near. For Team Chandler, he is very dear. Leaf recognition awards, countless, council's praise. He brings humor, smarts, and bright workdays. But beyond the screens and cyber fights, Mitch tends to his garden, which is quite a sight. Flowers bloom and shrubs stand tall. His green thumb rivals the city's firewalls. With jazz and blues, he set the tone, and at home, he sometimes codes alone. Oh, I have to mention that he is an amazing granddad. In fact, voted twice the best. In cyber and in life, he most certainly passed the test. So here's to Mitch with gratitude so true. Our city is safer, all thanks to you. Congratulations.
Mayor and Council, for our second service recognition, I'd like to call forward Kevin Snyder, our Development Services Director.
Are we checking out Kevin Schneider's poetic skills tonight?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to invite Abraham Marua up for recognition. And I'd like to note for the record that it is a little unfair to follow that. And I am not a poet, so I'm not even going to try. But we are here this evening to recognize 25 years of service by Abe. Abe has been with the city since 2000, and he's served in his current capacity as traffic engineer inspector since 2004. Abe has been almost a one-man show for the last 21 years, making sure that all of our barricading plans are approved, all of our maps are up so our public knows where the restrictions are, and making sure that the barricades come down as quickly as possible. Throughout his time with the city, Abe has received multiple awards and recognitions for his professionalism, his work efforts, and most of all, for being an amazing team member in the Development Services Department and through the other departments that he served in as well. Outside of work, Abe enjoys camping and hunting. He has been happily married for 31 years and is a proud father and grandfather, and I think a brand new granddaughter is in the audience this evening. And we appreciate all that Abe has done for the city and are glad to have him as part of Team Chandler. But most of all, we want to thank him for 25 years of service to the Chandler community. Thank you, Abe.
Mayor and Council, for our third and final service recognition of the evening, I'd like to call up John Knutson, our Public Works and Utilities Director.
So this evening, I'd like to call down Joe Flores for his 35-year recognition. Joe's journey with the city of Chandler began as a fuel attendant at the city municipal airport in 1990. He was later promoted to the best department in the city, Public Works and Utilities, as a meter reader, and then more recently as a metering services technician. Throughout his tenure, Joe has been an integral part of the evolution in how we read water meters. Joe has consistently offered excellent customer service while adapting to the technology changes and ensuring services remain efficient and effective. Joe's positive attitude and willingness to help his coworkers have made him a valuable member of the team. Joe not only enjoys his work, but also takes pride in serving the citizens of Chandler through his dedication, hard work, and unwavering commitment. Thanks, Joe, for your amazing 35 years of an outstanding service to the residents of Chandler.
Mayor and council, that concludes our service recognitions this evening. Thank you.
All right. For our next recognition, I'd like to invite all of council to come down and join me as we, this new recognition, the Community Hero Award, Officer Brian Larison. And as well, if you can join us with Chief Chapman and Chandler Police representatives. All right. I am deeply honored to join council this evening, recognizing the exceptional bravery, quick thinking of Chandler Police Officer Brian Larison. At our recent State of the City address, we took time to look deep within Chandler and look for stories of brains and heart and courage. And this came after that, or we would have called you up. But we're really grateful for your thoughtfulness. On February 18th, Officer Larison was on his way to work when he witnessed a severe accident on the US 60 near Val Vista. A cement truck collided with a Nissan pickup, causing it to overturn and become engulfed in flames. Without hesitation, Officer Larison approached the burning vehicle, used his baton to break the window, and with assistance of off-duty Peoria firefighter Asa Pagua, rescued the driver, Amy Ruiz, from the wreckage. Officer Larison's actions exemplify the highest standard of courage and selflessness. His unwavering commitment to protect human life, even in the face of imminent danger, serves as an inspiration to us all. It is individuals like Officer Larison who make our community safer, more compassionate, and we are honored here to recognize your bravery. And it is our honor as myself and council to present you today with the Community Hero Award on behalf of Mayor and Council. And would you like, Chief Chapman, or you or any of your team like to make any remarks before we turn the mic over to Officer Larison?
Are you prepared to speak, Brian? No? Okay. Well, Brian exemplifies the professionalism and the dedication of every Chandler police officer. But I want to be clear, what he did on the freeway that day is nothing that we train for. That's just a basic human kindness, trying to help someone who was going to perish if not for his actions. So, we all know there are no coincidences in life. I think, we're put in certain positions for certain actions, and Brian was put in that position to save Amy's life that day and really acknowledge the greatness that we have here in the city of Chandler. So, Brian, congratulations to you, and we look forward to celebrating you more throughout the year. Congratulations. Do you want to say anything?
And Amy, would you like to stand up? Would you like to say anything?
This is probably going to be like the millionth thank you, but thank you again. And thank you so much for having me here to be a part of this. It really is an honor to be here and to be with this whole recognition. He definitely deserves it. And of course, everybody else, but it is an honor to be here and to be able to stand here, talk about it again, and just to say thank you once again. And thank you for everybody once again and for having me here.
Thank you. Would you like to be in the photo? All right, let's take a photo. All right, thank you again. Yep. All right. Our next part up in front is Proclamation Library Week. If Sue Van Horn and Joel Miller can join us. And we're going to break Councilmember Hawkins in tonight and have her read her first proclamation. I intentionally chose one with lots of hard words. And so let's root her on.
There's a lot of whereases in that.
Thank you for coming up and being here with us tonight. So, our proclamation, whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering engagement, community enrichment, and lifelong learning. And whereas these resources celebrate the diversity of our communities by providing inclusive places that welcome people of all ages, from all backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life. And whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, explore, without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. And whereas Chandler Public Library has served as a trusted institution at the heart of our city, neighborhoods and school campuses, leading innovation, providing technology, training, and access to state-of-the-art creator equipment. And whereas Chandler Public Library and librarians, I'm not making it keeps going, I promise. Look beyond their traditional roles, providing transformative opportunities for education, employment, entrepreneurship, empowerment, and engagement, while thoughtfully developing collections and programs that explore the diversity of our ever-changing society. And whereas America is celebrating National Library Week to recognize the far-reaching impact and importance of libraries and librarians, including National Library Giving Day on April 1st, encouraging community support for local libraries. Now, therefore, Kevin Harkey, Mayor of City of Chandler, Arizona, does hereby proclaim April 6th through the 12th, 2025 as National Library Week. And we encourage all residents to visit our libraries and explore all that they have to offer.
I don't know if we can follow that. I just want to say that if you haven't visited the library recently or you need to come in and get a library card, come on in. We've got something for everyone. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, let's take a photo. And I never can pronounce entrepreneurship, so that's why. All right, and our next proclamation only has 3-syllable words. Valley Bike Month. Can we have the Okeson family come join us up here? I hope I pronounced your name right. Okeson? Okeson. All right, I was right. I shouldn't have second guessed. Whereas the City of Chandler celebrates its 17th annual Family Bike Ride event on April 5th, and whereas the City of Chandler Valley Metro and surrounding communities will be promoting Valley Bike Month in April 2025, and whereas throughout the month of April, residents of Chandler and its visitors will experience the joys of bicycling through educational programs, commuting incentives, community events, or by simply getting out and going for a ride. And whereas bicycling as an alternative to driving contributes to reduce pollution, congestion, and wear and tear on our streets and roads, and whereas creating a bicycle-friendly community has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, encourage economic activity, and attract tourism dollars. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, Arizona, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Valley Bike Month. Woo! Jason?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention that there is still time to register for the family bike ride. It is on April 5th. The event starts at 7:30 with the ride starting at 8:30. And I wanted to recognize the Okeson family, Dave, Leslie, Anna, and their other daughter, Caitlin, who couldn't be here, have been loyal participants. They've been at every event, I think, over the past decade. So marvelous track record. Just wanted to appreciate their commitment to bicycling as well.
So why do you like biking? I like it's just a combination. It's relaxing, it's exercising, it can be social. Um, and really, we're grateful to the city for sponsoring us for this event. It's been a great event for our family. A great time to meet other people too.
Great. Well, thank you. All right, let's take a photo. Well, I look forward to seeing you on April 5th. Thank you. Yeah. All right, and that concludes our proclamations and special recognitions. I did offer my spare bicycle to Councilmember Harris last year, so we'll see if he takes me up on it this year. All right, Council, we've had a number of items called in for this study session. The first is number 8. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. See, Vice Mayor, you're supposed to remind me on these things.
I don't have the script in front of me.
All right, Council, we have a few items, mostly second reads, and on this consent agenda, how would you like to proceed?
All right, Mayor, I'll
Councilmember Lando.
propose a motion to approve the consent agenda of March 24th, 2025, regular meeting items 1 through 4.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Poston. Any questions, comments, recusals? Seeing none, Council, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Orlando, for keeping me on track here. All right, next we have some items that have been called in. First was item number 8 by Councilmember Poston, looking for a presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and Councilmember Poston. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about Mesquite Groves Park. This specific action is a staff request for you to approve a professional services agreement with J2 Engineering and Environmental Design for the Mesquite Groves Park Design Services, not to exceed just north of $4.7 million. So the city of Chandler was able to purchase a nice piece of property, about 100 acres, just a few years ago, 2002 to be exact. So it's at 23 years or so, and will serve a very significant portion of our city with our recreation services. Already we have the pool that was built there in 2008. Mesquite Groves, our most popular, most populous park or aquatic center that we have. And of course, this community will and certainly enjoy the amenities that we have. I don't know, does it come up pretty well? So quick list of a lot of the activities that we have here. The 5-acre fishing lake, the 4 soccer fields, multi-purpose fields at this point that will also multiple play as a potential cricket pitch as well. So we've heard the community with cricket, we've heard the community with multi-sport, we've heard the community with soccer, and that demand is certainly accommodated with this layout. We also have 3 of the diamond fields. We have a future phase, unfunded at this point, potential for a small rec center, about 25,000 square feet, to be determined in the future years. Of course, the typical community park will have the playground area, splash pad area. We've got space for a skate BMX / pump track. We've got space for a little bit of pickleball, maybe 6 courts or so. We've got basketball as well, and of course, picnic areas. One of the top of the list, as always, with our park areas is just walking paths, a chance to be able to connect with nature and to be out into open space, into park areas. So this 90 acres addition will add a tremendous amount of opportunity for that walking and fitness. Along those fitness trails, we may have things like fitness facilities, pull-up bars, the old park course type of things. Remember those, Councilmember Orlando? Yeah, yeah. We worked on a lot of those back in the day, right? Right on. So the park course is that kind of fitness facility. We're having a lot of fun, and this is the real kickoff. I want to recognize first and foremost the residents of the area. Some of the folks that moved there with little ones and excited about having a park now have perhaps grandchildren that will maybe get to enjoy this park. Now, it's not to take away. We've had a lot of financial challenges throughout the city, through our fiscal conservancy and through our strategic use of our funds, both our community development impact fees as well as our bond funding. And you guys will, the mayor and council will have a chance to put this project as well, phase 2 on this project for the bond consideration for this year. But we have a significant amount of planning ahead of that. This agreement kicks off a summary of the past since October. We've had 2 different public meetings. We sent out invites to over 6,500 homes in the area, and we received over 460 responses to that survey. So we've had a significant amount of public engagement, significantly heard our community and what's important to them, and this plan really reflects that. And J2, the design firm, has their fingerprints across a number of our city parks in Chandler and have been a wonderful partner throughout the years, and we're really excited to see them kick this off. So with that, I also want to recognize the hard work of Alyssa Securos and Dan Haskins in our CIP program, as well, of course, Mickey Oland, our Parks CIP manager. And with that, I will encourage anybody that's interested in this to visit chandleraz.gov/Mesquite Groves Park, all one word, and check out a little bit more. And with that, I'll do my very best to answer any questions.
John, thank you. I just really wanted a brief overview of this because I think we all deserve a little good news these days. And I think just by the reaction of council when you first started, I think that shows that this is a very positive item on our agenda. I actually went to the public meetings and those neighbors have waited. You know, you do the math, those kids are 23, they're in college, some of those families that moved in when this was first started. And I know that some of these projects don't happen exactly when they need to. I'm certainly not second guessing any decisions, but I'm just so proud and glad that we're able to take a look and at least meet our promise to those neighbors. And it looks like everything that we have in this park will meet their expectations and exceed them. I also did like that you have accommodated a cricket field, which we might not have accommodated or even thought about 23 years ago, because we have that increasing demand in our community. And I think that speaks volumes to what you and your staff do when it comes to listening to the residents and what they want and what's important in their neighborhood. So thank you for this. Thank you for the presentation, and let's get going on it. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Well
Seeing, all right, seeing none. Thank you, John Sefton.
Thank you.
Our next item called in, item number 11, also by Council Member Poston, a question regarding the First Amendment to the development agreement between One Chandler and the City of Chandler. Kim Moyers. Councilmember Poston.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Mayor. I was just wanting to know, it always concerns me when we're putting off a development agreement. You know, we've done that many times in the past where we put it off and put it off and put it off, and what we've promised our residents to happen in our downtown. And I know it's particularly difficult to develop in a downtown. What I'd like to know tonight is, where did we come up with that 1 year number? Is that strategic? Is it just sort of a number we pulled out of the air, or what is the expectation that will change between now and a year from now?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Poston, great question. When we signed the development agreement with Jackson Dearborn back in 2022, we were still in the midst of COVID. Since that time, we've seen a lot of changes in the economy. Despite that, they have continued to meet every deadline from the time that they started until today. They've been extremely communicative with us and let us know what some of their issues and challenges were within today's market, particularly in the office market. And they're looking for 12 months to see if they can shore up some changes within, smaller changes within their mixed use to be able to make this pencil a little better. And so they're looking for that 12 months, but they have said that if they're able to do that, that they will move even quicker if they can. So what I would say is, while we've seen this a time and time again, they have always picked up the phone to call us to let us know every step of the way. And they've met every obligation that they've told us that they were able to. And in today's market, I think that it is not expected necessarily, but common for this to happen throughout the valley.
Okay. All right. I think you've answered my questions. I appreciate it. I do appreciate that they have been communicating with city staff. I know that they've been communicating with our city manager as well. So I'm in favor of giving them the time that they need, but just want to make sure that they continue to move forward and meet that obligation, because this is a big signature project for
Great.
downtown. It's going to be our northern entryway. So I'm really excited about what they're doing there. I just want to make sure that they are able to deliver on that. Thanks, Kim.
Additional questions or comments for Kim Moyer? Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Camp. If I may ask, is this solely because of financial constraints? Because I remember talking to Josh about that, and what they wanted to do was probably adding more units to the areas where they were going to put the mixed use. Were we able to talk to them regarding to see how we can come up with something to even be part of that solution?
Through the mayor, vice mayor, that's exactly what we'll see in the next few months. As I mentioned earlier, office is a tough market right now, and it's difficult to find financing, especially with a small amount with a larger project. So there's an opportunity to perhaps have additional multifamily. So we'll be working through those in the next few months to get that right mixture so that they might be able to shore up that financing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Next item called in by Councilmember Orlando, discussion questions relating to item number 12, Nirvana at Ellis. Kevin. I've never forgotten your name. Councilmember Orlando.
Kevin, we had some conversation about this earlier today. Actually, this goes back a little bit further. How many units do we have today that have been approved, zoned, all that activity that city has participated in to enable development?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, members of council, we have, as of today, the total number of units are 1,839 units. 2% of those units are single family, the rest are multifamily units. They are approved, have received their entitlements, and we're simply waiting for them to move forward into the next step of the process.
So that's kind of a little bit less than what we heard maybe a year or so ago.
Right, we've seen some, through the mayor, we've seen some absorption by the market. However, there are national forces going on, mortgage rates and construction financing and other factors that have limited maybe the number of units we would have seen in normal times.
So that's left in the hopper, or that's being built, the 1,000?
Through the mayor, that's left in the hopper.
Okay, that's good. Well, that's good news there. This is a great project. It's it's duplexes. It's about 58 units, I believe, or 29 units.
Through the mayor, 35 units.
35 units, and I look forward to seeing this built. To go back to item number 11 and some of the other, the 1,000 units, and at one time it was over 2,000, so that's good news to hear that there is some movement, there's sticks being put in the ground. My concern has been, it's a number one issue in Arizona, it's a number one issue nationally, is housing. And my frustration is with all of these units that are pent up demand, and we're getting help from the legislators, we're getting help from a lot of areas, and we're just not seeing the projects coming out of the ground. I know there's economic issues, we just talked about that, and I get all that stuff, but I guess my question to you is, do we have a high confident level that this is going to occur, or am I going to be here a year from now adding to that 1,000 some odd units?
Through the mayor, it's a great question, Councilmember. Well, no one can predict the market. We as staff are committed to working across multiple departments and with the council to explore ways that we can help bring these units to market. Obviously, as Councilmember Orlando noted, there is a need for housing. It is a topic du jour across the state of Arizona and through all states and across the country. And so in order to help move the market along, we will be working as staff and ultimately with council to explore alternate means and opportunities to make that happen in our city.
Is the applicant here tonight?
Unfortunately, the applicant was not able to attend. However, they did notify us by email that they do intend to start construction by this summer. And if approved this evening by City Council, they will be submitting their construction documents for approval in the very near future and hope to be under construction, early construction activities by summer of 2025.
Have we worked with this developer before?
We have not.
Okay, so it's the first time here. And
through the mayor, yes.
Okay, so we have a history. Does anybody in the valley have a history with this developer?
Through the mayor, unfortunately, Councilmember, I can't answer that, but we could certainly follow up on more.
Again, I'm not challenging their emails. Again, I've seen these emails for the last 20 years. 23 years. I've seen these emails, and we just had a good example here. Best intentions, and it's 3 years later, we're still not getting sticks in the ground. Okay, so look, I'm okay with moving forward. I like to see a stronger, some stronger language in there, perhaps about what we could do with this development to move it forward. I also like staff to look at some kind of carrot or incentive to be able to move these projects off of the funnel and into sticks in the ground, and potentially look at some accountability means if we're not meeting our obligation. Every unit helps to reduce some of this activity that's going on out there, where we have this, this underserved community of folks not having a decent place to live. So
through the mayor, we will communicate very strongly to the applicant the council's interest in seeing this project move forward, and we will work with them as closely as possible to make it happen, to meet the timelines that the council expects and that they've also indicated in their communications to us.
So what ideas you have for the future, and Wayne, how fast can you get what's that? I was going to ask that, Kevin. Come on now.
Through the mayor,
what are your thoughts and timelines on that?
Through the mayor, as the council is aware, we are working on a housing assessment and study that will identify potential strategies and recommendations for the council to consider. We will be done with that project later this summer. Between now and then, we will be meeting internally to talk about different alternate ways. As the council is likely aware, we have certain statutory limitations placed upon us in terms of requiring through stipulations. There are other methods, perhaps regulatory methods or financial incentives, where we can go to the market and see if we can get the proverbial wheels of building activity moving along. So we will be putting a package together and ultimately bringing that back for your consideration, and be working over the next several months while that study is completed.
Perfect. I appreciate that. And again, we're not trying to be punitive here. I'm just trying to figure out how we could accelerate this housing. That's one of the issues. I mean, we were all at the National League of City a few weeks ago, and that was the number one topic throughout the United States of housing. So hopefully we could do our little bit here to make it a little bit more comfortable for everyone. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin, I've got a question for you too, and I don't need the answer today, but I am just curious concerning where the market is at in Chandler. So what if you could get that to us sometime soon in terms of saturation? What's the rate? What's the rent percentage across the city? A rough number. It doesn't need to be exact on that, but get that to us as in your best convenience. Additional questions, Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Kevin, in light of the fact that we are not familiar with this builder, what has been the relationship with them along the way? I really want to see a timeline, kind of like visualize it from the time they put the application in, how responsive they have been, and continually with you to the point where now they believe that they're ready for the summer to put shovel in the ground. Can you give me a good understanding of that? Because that will give us a big sense of confidence.
Through the mayor, council member, we have had a good working relationship. Michaela Liebert, who's been the assigned planner, has worked very diligently with them. They've been responsive to our information requests. Their application material revisions have been done promptly. They went to the Planning and Zoning Commission recently and received approval through the Planning and Zoning Commission. So they have been throughout the steps in the process, working with us diligently to get through the process and to meet our needs and expectations. They've responded to our design modifications and also the inputs on where we think they could do better overall with the project. So I would say in summary, they have been good to work with. And at this point, we have no concerns as staff to believe that they won't progress forward, but we will again deliver that message very strongly that the council would like to see them move forward with this project.
But that's great. What I'm hearing is that you said that want to is there. You know,
The
they have
want
a
is there.
strong want to, and then they have a with them. In other words, there is a good thing in there for them because they wouldn't want to be in Chandler if it was not going to happen. Furthermore, it's going to be on Ellis Street. What can go wrong?
All right, additional questions or comments? All right, thank you so much, Kevin. Item number 24, briefing called for by Councilmember Orlando on our pension funding policies update. Would that be you, Dawn? All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Orlando. Just a quick briefing. We have 9 financial policies in the city of Chandler that set sustainable financial practices. Each year, we review them. This year, we're only bringing forward one with changes, and it is the pension funding policy. It is required by Arizona revised statute that this come forward annually to update the assets, liabilities, and the current funded ratio of the pension plan. So this is the public safety personnel retirement system that covers police and fire. Back in 2021, the funded ratio was only 59.9% funded. I'm happy to report that on this update, it is being updated to 94.4% funded. This policy also iterates the goal of council in the policy, and that goal is stated as becoming 100% funded and then maintaining that funding status. We also update the Arizona revised statute, or I'm sorry, the ASRS, the retirement system, Arizona State Retirement System, called it Arizona revised statute, my goodness. That is actually updated this year, and this is a pooled policy at 74% funded. And with that, I can answer any questions you might have.
All right, so there's really no major changes other than the fact that we're moving forward with the percentages, right?
Updating the percentages and adding that we will not only fully fund, but maintain in the future. That is the big change to the goal.
All right, and we just had a budget session. I don't want to go into details on that. You answered a lot of questions on that one too, so appreciate that. The message very clear is we're saving the taxpayers a multi-million dollars just by paying down that debt, and we'll continue working forward with that, correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mayor.
Next, we're going to do item number 32, called in by Councilmember Ellis and Orlando, and then Leah Power, if you're prepared for a brief briefing on item number 3 as well. So, all right, John Knutson.
Yes, Vice Mayor, I understand you had a question about the alley program.
Well, I understand you're going to do a presentation.
Well, I have. I was unsure of the question, but I am prepared to give you kind of an overview of the alley program and then a quick discussion about the particular item that we have in front of you tonight.
Thank you.
So the city of Chandler has had a formal alley rehabilitation program since about 2008. When the EPA enacted an air quality regulation called PM10, and it has to do with particulate matter less than 10 microns in diameter. And the program is really to try to mitigate dust in the air that we breathe. So in recent years, we've received grant funding from the federal government through Maricopa Association of Governments to help us with the cost of completing these PM10 rehabilitations. The map that I have here shows it's difficult to see, but all those little lines are all the alleyways within the city that we maintain. These are the unpaved alleyways. Approximately 104 miles. So there's considerable amount. So again, in recent years, the grant funding has come about. We have taken advantage of that grant funding to the best that we can. The grant funding requires, along with grant funding also comes some rules and regulations. So with this grant funding, we have to do environmental surveys of the alleys. We also have to provide proof that we own the properties underlying the areas that we are improving. So if we're improving a road, you'll often see us come with very similar council memos asking for authority to acquire. This is no different. This is just an authority to acquire some remnant pieces of land. I have another image here to show you. And this would be an image of those two small, they're not small in length, but they're small in width. So it's just small square footage actually. And these are like half alley pieces that you can see. And these are the areas that when the property was platted, when the subdivision was platted, these were left out. So they should be part of the city right away within those alleys, but today they're not. So when our real estate group, Eric, was doing the research on this program, he discovered these two areas that needed to come into city ownership. And that's basically what this memo is concerning. So the property must be purchased, become part of the city right away. Then we can obligate for the grant funding, and then we can move forward with the project. In addition to the formal alley rehab program that I discussed, our streets right-of-way crews are constantly looking in the alleys, cleaning and clearing up debris. So it's pretty much a constant effort in those alleyways. And next council meeting, to continue the care of our alleyways, we'll be introducing to you the purchase of a slurry tanker truck. And the slurry tanker truck will be used not only in our new parking lot program for restoration and rehabilitation of the city's parking lots, but we do intend to use this slurry tanker as well to maintain our alleys into the future. We are now, as of next year, we will have completed all 104 miles of alleys in this PM10 program. So we kind of view the alleys kind of like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You finish and then you go right back to the beginning and you start again. And so that's kind of where we're at with this. But we're unsure if we're going to be able to get future grant funding for the next round. So that's what this slurry tanker will be for. That's what the program will be to kind of take us into the future. So,
Thank you so much, John. This is wonderful.
yes.
I really appreciate the investment because for the last 5 years, pretty much, I've been hearing it from the resident up north, pretty much the north of the city, which is where you show us where everything is really congregate in that area with the alleys, that their quality of life because of those alleys have not been the same with the people in the south. And so I wanted to make sure that today you come and and show us that we are making efforts, and then what we're doing right now is going to improve their quality of life. Can you speak a little bit about that? In what way? I know the truck you mentioned is going to continue to improve with maintenance and cleanliness and everything. But what we're seeing, what the main complaints that we have been getting specifically for those alleys are people living into them, which I know neighborhood services is doing their part, but also people dumping in those areas. How would you be able to continue to maintain those areas so we don't have those problems anymore?
Through the mayor, vice mayor, the care of these alleyways is difficult. Other cities have, Tempe, Mesa, and others have actually gone and blocked the alleys, with fences or gates. In Chandler, that's a difficult thing to do because we have alley trash service in our alleys. And that is something that residents seem to like, and that is something that we're going to continue. So blocking our alleyways is not an option for us. So I just think with elevated patrol, elevated care and maintenance of the alleys, like our right-of-way folks do on a daily basis as part of their routine. Our solid waste folks are always on it. This particular program, the PM10 program, is nice because when they finish an alley, it's not paved necessarily with an asphalt, but they use milled material, and then they adhere it in a way that, and then they roll it in, so it's very much like an asphalt material. So it does create a good surface. The very next program that we're doing is going to be right in the downtown. It'll be from McQueen to Dobson. We'll have some work from Chandler Boulevard over to Ray. And it represents about 20 miles of alleyways. And that represents about $6 million in cost, which we get about 40% back from the grant. So we fund about 60% and the grant pays for about 40%.
That's wonderful. Last question for you. How much of public involvement have we gotten into these projects as we're going along, getting people excited about it and bringing them to the table, getting their input on what they would like to see being done? Because that's their backyards, in other words.
Through the mayor, vice mayor, it is interesting. They have in Chandler, we have a love of our alleys, and there's no doubt about that. And when we come into an alley, when we come into one of our projects, we do an awful lot of notification, but it is difficult because we have to remove the trash containers from the alley, put them in the front. And we have to remember what those alleys are there for. The alleys were created in those days for really a utility access. So in that alley is not only, in many cases, water and wastewater pipes, but also all your caulks, natural gas, everything is down those alleys. So as much as we hear from some neighbors, oh, let's get rid of the alleys, or, it's difficult because there's so much utility infrastructure there that we have a difficult time, dealing with that. So we do reach out, we do make contact when we're coming into these neighborhoods, and we do our very, very best to be, good citizens and good contractors, trying to keep everything clean and get in and out as quickly as possible. But it's difficult work as well. So we do occasionally have a bump in the road, but we try to smooth those out.
Well, I'm grateful that you're doing this with the staff and everybody else that's on board to help with that. When I leave here this evening, I'm going to call Miss Linda Sawyer and let her know her wish is being granted, because I'm sure she will be happy knowing that we'll put in some investments in those islands. Thank you.
Councilmember Orlando.
Mayor, my question was answered. Thank you.
All right. City manager, just a comment. We can never let him go. He compares alleys to the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't know what else to say.
We agree, Mayor. I think he heard it tonight. Can't go anywhere.
Item number 3, called in by Councilmember Encinas, Leah Powell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have a full presentation, but I'm also happy to go over it quickly and just answer questions, whatever your preference would be.
If you just want to do a quick brief overview of item number 3, and then I have some follow-up questions for you.
Through the mayor, members of the council, items actually number 2 and 3 kind of go together. We are looking at changing a couple of city ordinances. As you know, the city of Chandler has been following any of the recent Supreme Court rulings regarding people experiencing homelessness, as well as Proposition 312 that was passed in the fall. Chandler believes in leading with services, and we will continue to do that throughout this process. These ordinances are simply another tool in our toolbox to encourage people who are experiencing homelessness to engage in services. This allows us to put some hours onto our bus stops and be able to close them approximately about an hour after the last bus run and open about 30 minutes to an hour prior to the first bus route in the morning. And when we see people that are camping, setting up homes at those transit stops. This allows police and the navigation team to work together as they do now, but it gives police an additional tool to be able to provide a warning first and then eventually cite if somebody will not leave and is setting up an encampment at the transit spot. Police and navigation team already work together on people who have created encampments, people who need to engage in services but have a tremendous amount of items with them. That will continue. We have a mechanism in place should someone need to be cited and they have their items. There is a mechanism in place. Police is already using some bins to go ahead and collect the items and put them into storage. Same thing with the navigation team. We have people who walk into our office on a daily basis that need to replace their items somewhere so they may engage in services. We will continue to do that. So again, I think the effort that police and navigation do together now will continue on as we go forward. The ordinance also will allow for citations for urban camping should that take place. We again will try to get services, get people to move on, to understand the situation. Already, code enforcement, police, and navigation work together when there are encampments on private property, notifying the private property owners and working together to make sure encampments are cleaned.
Thank you for that briefing, Leah. I live in downtown, and I've seen these encampments pop up at a bus station, and our team has been very good to work with them and get that cleared up. Can you walk me through a scenario where if we do have an encampment being built, maybe if it's less than 24 hours or so at a bus station, what does that process look like? Is our PD going out there first? Is our navigation team going out there first? What is the line of process for that?
Through the mayor, council member, and CNS, it certainly will be case by case. Case by case. However, I will tell you that most of the time our navigation team is already going to be aware, and again, they are just in constant communication with the officers that are on the beat, and so it will be addressed through whatever the appropriate mechanism is at that point. So, for example, if it's somebody who's starting to build an encampment, our navigators are usually going to get on that first and just immediately contact the person. If something starts, if the person's not moving on, or let's say something more begins to happen, if there starts to be vandalism like that, police will be coming out, but there will be that constant communication and working together on the situation. So it would not necessarily be a police officer who may approach first. Navigation certainly doesn't have any enforcement capability. That's not what they're going to do. But when they see something start, an encampment start anywhere, they're going to start with services. And then, of course, like I said, work with the police department. When the police department gets called out for situations that involve people experiencing homelessness, they too to work out, they call the navigators to come out and assist where appropriate. Obviously, they're going to take public safety as the first thing that they're looking at and respond appropriately if it's a safety situation, but they will work very closely with the navigator. So it really is on a case by case basis. Again, we're just trying to make sure that we have one more tool in our toolbox to try to move people on to resources, which is ultimately what's going to be better for their lives.
Correct, correct. And one thing that I'm wrestling with as part of this update is the penalties that go along with this. If it gets to that instance, you know, we're dealing with people that are already in tough situations, and it's potentially a misdemeanor for them creating that encampment. How do we get to that level? I know there's some level of discretion as well too, depending. So can you walk me through that as well?
Absolutely. Through the mayor, Councilmember Encinas, police officers do have the discretion and will do a warning first. Obviously, again, if there's an imminent safety issue, they're going to deal with it differently, but they have the opportunity to use discretion. They absolutely will do a warning first. They're going to offer services first. They can make that connection to resources, to the navigators if it's not somebody who's already engaged. And then if someone is cited, we have the ability to have the person go through support court. We have our support court that we've been running for about 3 years now with the court system. And so people experiencing homelessness will have that opportunity to go through support court. And there they will be working with the navigation team again. The judge will look at a situation and there will be a plan that is created for that person. And if they work their plan, then usually charges are either reduced or dropped. And so that too will be another tool that we can use for people who are experiencing homelessness if they find themselves in the situation of getting a citation.
Gotcha. And if they do get to the point of a misdemeanor, is this the lowest type of penalty?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Senius, yes, it is on the criminal side. Now, if it's something occurs on private property, a private property owner certainly could go with the civil case. I haven't seen that occur in Chandler yet, but it could happen. But from a criminal standpoint, misdemeanor would be the lowest.
Okay, thanks for that
And
clarification.
Mayor, if I may add a little bit more to that.
Proceed.
Um, most of the defined crimes in our code, the vast majority are class one misdemeanors, or we have the option of a civil traffic offense where we just issue citation, and the only remedy available there is a fine. The advantage of having these designated as crimes, if you have the reluctant cooperator, it gives us an opportunity for support court, an opportunity for probation to help with monitoring and um, encouraging that person to comply with the law. There are 3 levels of misdemeanor, and they are the lowest class of criminal of crimes defined in our state law. There's a class 1, class 2, and a class 3. Um, Again, most of our everything in our code is class 1, and this is consistent with the other municipalities around the area. We can go down to a class 3. Um, I would not recommend in these type of cases a civil because it really ties our hands with just a fine and not being able to add those additional incentives.
Got you. Thank you for that clarification. That was mainly, I wanted to get a better understanding of that process, and it sounds like there will be some level of discretion and a plan for them to make adjustments if it needs to get there. So, and then you also answered my other question regarding their value, their items, the valuable items. Your PD is working on a collection process, you said?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Encinas, it happens on both ends. So the PD does have a process to collect, and even right now, if something occurs in the middle of the night, whenever possible, we will try to assist through the navigation team. So it could be there's a situation, maybe somebody's staying in a bus stop overnight, and it can wait until the navigation team is on in the morning, and the navigation team can come out and help the police department and take that off them to have to worry about the items. And again, we're going to, there already are bins that we use, and we're going to be purchasing additional bins to be able to have people put their items in the bin, lock the bin, and then put the bin in storage.
Okay.
And we also have a cleanup we already have a contract for encampment cleanup.
Okay. Thank you. That answers all my questions regarding this.
Yeah. Ilya, I've got one question. I think City Attorney answered one of them, which is every city around us is adopted or is adopting similar measures to this. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor, that is correct. And then again, that is one of the reasons that we feel like it's important for Chandler to have the same tools that other cities have, so that it is consistent with throughout the valley, and we don't see any pressure just on Chandler for a lack of resources and tools.
My second question is, you will recall as we commentated about this in the past that at the Burger King at Arizona and Ray Road, we had a on again, off again couple that were consistently taking over that bus stop, were being antagonistic to any question to move, or really others that wanted to use that bus stop, as they kind of claimed that. Again, they had their own struggles, but would this ordinance made it easier for us to both help them in their homeless situation as well as move them to where they were not a threat to themselves or others?
Mayor, you are correct. We dealt with that situation for a number of years and didn't have the tools or the resources to really, I think, convince them to go into services, we'll say. And unfortunately, there were some very extreme health situations that occurred with that individual. And we've seen that in other places. And actually, I can think of a couple other bus stops in particular where had we had this tool, we probably could have gotten that person into care sooner. And that's ultimately what we want. We are trying to make sure that people get connected to resources because it truly does become a health and safety issue for many of them.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Or comments?
Last question quickly.
Vice
Mayor.
Mayor.
You mentioned something about us being bogged down with more, having to put out more resources because everyone around us have this plan and that they have it in place right now. What does that look like? Can you explain? Why will Chandler be burdened more now if we don't have this in place?
Through the mayor, vice mayor, what we have seen in the past, we typically know when a city is doing some type of enforcement because you will see homelessness at times cross borders. And we have experienced that people will come into Chandler that are not necessarily from Chandler, and we may hear that this is happening because they're getting pressure from that other city. So we just want to basically level the playing field so that we're all dealing with the same tools, so you don't have one city pushing people into another city.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none. Thank you so much. Council, that concludes the questions and comment portion of our meeting. We'll see you all on Thursday for budget session 3 and voting on these items tonight. Have a good evening.